Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, nice to see everybody. Thank you so much for giving up your time this afternoon to come and join us. Hopefully you'll find it helpful. I'm Ruth and my colleague Amelia is with us. She's here to field all questions. So she's going to post a comment there in the comment box so that you can add all your comments. Please do ask questions as you go. It means, I'm sure if you're thinking it, someone else is also thinking it. No silly questions are there. No silly questions. Just please ask, because this is meant to be helpful, but also we quite like the feedback.
Absolutely. I've just posted a comment in the chat, everyone. So I'll be monitoring this throughout it. Any questions at all, anything that comes up, please do pop them in there and we'll answer them as they come up.
Super. Right. I shall share my screen. And we shall go. So now that you're all synced, the most important page you need to just be aware of is this tab up here, which says our schools tab. We go to that. The reason this is important, it means because this is where you can check all your classes, your students and your teachers who are on the Seneca platform. So here we have all classes. Classes that say view are ones that I currently teach. So they are ones that I'm already attached to. Any that have got this join are classes I don't currently teach, but I can simply click on any classes and join a class. And by doing that, I then can see all of the information. I can also set assignments, etc. for that class. We've still got the search function in the schools tab here. So we can search for a class and we don't have to scroll through them all. And that will help you find any of those. And then you can view that class by simply clicking on there and it'll take you directly into that class. Again, if we look at the students here, you will see all of your students who are on the platform. And you can, again, use the search function, look for a student and check that they're using the correct email address for logging in. Occasionally, students might have a couple of accounts on Seneca, maybe one with a personal email. And it's important they're using the one that is supported on your MIS. You can also reset passwords here. You can select any of the students, simply hit reset password, and it asks you to put the password in, confirm it. It helps you can type the same one twice and then it resets it. If we're only setting a couple of passwords, it'll only take a couple of seconds to update those passwords. If you were doing that for all of the students, which it is possible to do in one go, it might take a little longer. If we are searching for a student and we can't find them here on the valid students, it means that we're not pulling their details across from your MIS. So it might be if I was looking for invalid students, and I do a quick search and I want, say, Aria Smith, and here she is. She's got no email address on your school's MIS. You can then report that to your IT or data manager, which means that that can get resolved and it'll automatically be picked up at the next auto sync. Teachers, again, all teachers will be here on the valid teachers. We can search for teachers in exactly the same way and reset passwords in exactly the same way as you can on the Students tab. One thing to note for teachers, another reason a teacher might be on the invalid list would be because either that they've got a personal email on the MIS or that they're marked as non-teaching staff. If you've got IT managers who are non-teaching staff, who you don't want marked as teachers on your MIS, then just drop me an email and I can add those to your school sync because that might help so that they can also see what is going on the platform. Any questions so far, Amelia?
None so far.
Okay, so I'm just going to show you what it also looks like from a student point of view. So I'm just going to log in as a student. When a student logs in, now they're synced, they will automatically, when they go to classes and assignments, will automatically see all of their classes for the school and those classes will be synced. If I click on a class, it'll automatically bring up any assignments that are due and they can just continue and start from here. Anything that's overdue will appear in here or anything that was a past assignment will appear in there. If they went to a class or a course where there isn't anything, they've got this little monkey and it says there's nothing there. So If you haven't remembered to post the assignment or copy it into Google Classroom, Teams, class charts, whatever homework platform you're using, if you simply write your homework is on Seneca, they should automatically be able to find it by logging in to join their class. So now we're going to go and have a little look at what it looks like when we look at classes. So all of your classes are automatically set up. So all you need to do is find the class you want to look at. All of the students will automatically be loaded for you. Any teachers who are also assigned that class on your timetable will also be added here. If you do need to add a teacher, you can simply send that teacher an invite via there. The thing you will need to do is add any courses here, and that can be done by simply searching in here. We're going to search all of these free courses, and we're going to check that we're just looking for GCSE. It'll then pull up any relevant courses. And if you were looking for a particular type of course, so you were looking for standard assessments or diagnostic ones, that you could look here. So I might say I want the diagnostic questions. I can simply tick those and add that course. Those courses are now all added. Once you've added courses to your classes, you can then go and set assignments. So in here, I go to add an assignment. You're going to be setting a standard Seneca assignment. We choose the course that we're selecting, and we choose what we're going to do this on, and here. And down here, it'll tell you how long this is going to take. So this is probably a little bit long for a homework. So then you can unselect the bits you don't want, have a look at it and think, yes. You can preview any content, and then you will see this exactly what the students are going to see. So the slides and things they're going to see, and the types of questions that they are going to encounter as they go. So you can check any content prior to setting it. And I can assign that here. Now, these are where we will get our exam questions. These are predicted questions. They are not ones that would have come up on a past paper. Where you see this little green symbol, it means they are AI marked. And you can preview all of these questions. These questions are different to the normal types of questions that students answer, where they'll be sliding sliders across, or they'll be putting single words in, or they will be looking at kind of multiple choice type questions. These students can free answer a whole question. They're marked against the mark scheme, and the AI marks it for you. You can select questions. You can swap those questions and find something. Oh, look, I want one with a harder question, and I might see if I can find a different last question. This is a 4-mark question. It doesn't have the AI marking, but what it will do is once students have written their answer, it'll bring up the mark scheme. They will mark it, and you will then be able to overmark it. Eventually, we hope that these will also become AI marked. So once you've selected your exam questions, you will then go to putting here. And here you might decide that you want to select this to all students, maybe say except one. So you can do that, or you can select all of the class if you want to just set it to all of the class. Here you will set the date that it's due to be in by, and the time you want it in by as well. When you've done that, you create your assignment. This box will give you the opportunity to copy and paste the link directly to this assignment, either into your homework platform, or you can post it directly onto your Google Classroom or Teams, or email it to parents or students. If for some reason you forget to do this, when you come back to the assignment, you can still always later on share it in exactly the same way. So now we've set our assignment. Our students will hopefully have done some of our assignment. We might decide that sometimes we want to set assignment across more than one class. So perhaps you've got a whole year group that you want to set a science assessment for across, say, Key Stage 3. And that would be possible. We're going to create an assignment now. Again, a standard assignment. We choose the course. Now you can set a course across a year group. if the course is added to each of the classes. And again, although this is a Key Stage 3, they still have exam type questions. So these are more like assessment questions so that you can check how your students have done. And in the same way, you can still preview them and check the mark scheme as you go. Name it in the same way. And this time, where it says classes, I'm going to select all of the classes that have that Key Stage 3 science attached, which means I'm going to set this homework for 2 classes, but that could be a whole year group up to 4 or 5, or even 6 classes, however many you've got in your school to set that homework across. And again, in the same way, we choose our date we want it handed in by and the time we want it handed in by as well. We create our assignment. Now we can copy those links individually to each of those 2 classes in the same way. I'm going to pause a moment. Are we okay on questions, Amelia?
We've got a couple of questions actually. So we've got one from Nicola asking, is there a way for students to rework through an assignment, to redo an assignment without the teacher having to reset it?
Okay, so in which case I will look as a student, once they have gone to an assignment. So if I go through an assignment that I've already done some of it, I can go back through sections that I've already done and I can work through them again. Students are able to study both assignments that have been set, but also they can study the course at any point. And here you can see some of this natural hazard has been done, but it's not being fully completed. So we might go back through this one and it's saying that I got 18% on this one. So I can go back in and look at that question, look at that again, and I can go back through. I've gone into the exam questions. I will, whilst I'm here, show you that what the exam questions look like. So here we had properties of continental plates. This is where you would type a full answer. And it doesn't matter what I type in here. Hopefully the AI will then look at whatever I've written. It'll come up with the mark scheme and it'll tell me what it was looking for. Have I got any of those things? Have I got them? They were thick, they were old, they were light. Not really covering those items there. And then everything, if there's ever an issue, all questions can be flagged there. Does that help?
That does. Nicola said thank you.
Okay.
And then we've got another one from Mark who's asked, in the courses, what does standardized assessment mean? So compared to the normal courses.
Okay. So if I go into class, I go to add courses. So here we have different kind of courses that were here if we looked at them by type. So a standard course would just be going through sections and answering questions. The standardized assessments, if I go into one of those. So those ones, if I was to set ones which was standardized assessments, I'm not sure I want business. There we go. This one, rather than, it would just give them kind of questions. So rather than giving them all that content bit that would normally be, it will give them questions where they select the answers. So it says what one is not equal to, and they would go through, and you can try this here. So it's kind of giving them questions. So it's kind of assessing their knowledge perhaps on a particular topic, rather than the standard assignment, which has content for them to look at, both videos and slides, and then they would answer questions, which are mostly retrieval questions, working on that retrieval skill to find the answer. So this is testing or finding out what they know.
I quite like to think of the standard courses as like setting a section from a textbook. So obviously they're reading, understanding and learning more about the content, whilst also being tested. And then the standard assessments are just a more simple version. There's also one other key difference is that all the standard courses on Seneca are all adaptive. So the questions will be different depending on the student's ability. If they're doing really well, they'll be shown harder questions, move through it at a quicker pace. If they're struggling a bit, they might be shown slightly easier questions, things like that. That's not true of the standardized assessments because they're standardized, so you can compare directly one student's results against another because they've all been shown the same questions, which isn't always true on the adaptive standard courses. And that's all the questions so far, Ruth, so I'll hand back over to you.
Thank you. So once we've set an assignment, one of the things you might want to go in and do is look at assignment that has already happened. And you might say, actually, I want to look at this assignment. And when we look at these students, 2 of these students haven't completed some of these sections at all. So I can smart reassign this assignment. I can reassign it to the students who didn't complete any of the sections, or I can do it for students who perhaps scored less than 50% or 80%. So I can simply reassign this. Reassign geography. And again, I would just choose a date that it was due to be in by, and I reassign it. And all it'll do to the students, they will simply be given the parts that they hadn't done if it was an incomplete one, all of the sections where they hadn't got either 50% or 80%. So it's a way of them kind of redoing parts of the course without having to redo the whole homework again. But it might be useful for you to make sure that you've actually got full completion of certain topics. And talking about looking at how students have done, that moves nicely on to looking at our Insights tab. So this is where you can see exactly how students have been doing. So if we go back to that geography course where we set something earlier, we can look at exactly how those students have done, how much time they've spent learning this course, and what their average score was as they were doing it. The topic scores, we can look at specific topics. So it might be, I want to see how well everyone's done on the tectonic plates. It might be, I just want to look at a specific section of that. So it doesn't mean I necessarily want to look at all of it. But if I do, then it'll pull up exactly who's completed what and what percentages they got as they went through. And on here, when you're looking at how students have done, you will also be able to check all of the information is exported by Excel. Looking at how students have done on an individual assignment, you can go in, and if they've completed exam questions, you can see exactly what the student typed and what the AI marked. And this gives you control over exactly how many marks you think they should have given. Because sometimes you might feel that they have the gist of what's going on, but perhaps it wasn't worded quite in the right way. Please bear in mind that any overmarking you do does help to train the AI to make it more accurate as we move forward. So that gives you different ways of checking on how your students have done, both on an individual assignment and then here on the Insights tab for an overall course. One further way would be to run a report. You choose the class you want to run your report for, what period you want to run it over, or you can choose selected dates. You generate that report. It might take itself a little while to generate, and then you'll get a spreadsheet that looks a bit like this one. Here you have the overview for that class, and it might be that they've got all the assignments, or it might be if it's a science class, they would just have some courses. It'll tell you their total learning time and average scores, but probably more interesting are these tabs where you look at your target groups. This is where you can ensure your pupil premium, your EAL and your SEN children are performing as you would hope and that they're completing work, as well as seeing the amount of time students have spent studying on assignments. You can also see this one, which is very important for independent study. I know a lot of schools are trying to encourage students to work through things independently and to get skills for their own independence, which will help them for future life skills. So this one you can look at and help reward those students who perhaps have gone over and above just completing assignments. it then splits everything down by the amount of time they've spent studying each course and the average score they've got there. You can then split it down by individual students. This is searchable, obviously, as a spreadsheet. You can look at a particular, search for a particular student. And again, it'll give you their independent, their total assigned time, average score across the courses, and then split it down by course. And finally, for heads of department and senior leaders, you might want to see what your colleagues have been doing in your department or in your school, and you'll be able to see that on the teacher tab, and that will show you both total assignments completed, how many sessions have been completed by in that teacher's class, when they last set an assignment, and what year groups they set those assignments to. So therefore, you can have a view in saying, are we just using this for Key Stage 4, or are we using this more whole school? Any questions on those, Amelia?
Yes, so we have one question from a Mrs. Stewart, I think, basically asking, once he's already created an assignment and set it to students, how can you easily go in and see the student's view? So to go, e.g., directly to a particular slide or an embedded video in order to show the whole class. So do you mind if I quickly answer this one, Ruth?
Yeah, go on.
So two easy ways of doing it. One of them would be to actually add yourself to the class as a student. This can be done really, really easily. Basically, all you need to do is the link that you share with students, you click it as well. That's going to add you to the class as a student. A lot of teachers have already got themselves in their class as a student, whether deliberately or by accident. I come across this a lot. And what that means is if you then go to, as Ruth has been doing, as she's been demoing under your name, you can go to the platform, and you can go into the assignment in the same way that students can. This is also really good if the students are just kind of getting familiar with Seneca themselves, want to kind of go in and see it. So that's probably the easiest and quickest way that I would say to easily see that. And then if you want to screen share it and pop it up on a whiteboard, show them a video or a slide, that's probably the easiest way to go in and do it.
So that you could just go in here, start the assignment in the same way, and you could just look through and see what slides would be being shown to your students.
And I know some teachers also will do this just as a kind of live class finisher exercise. They'll have it up on the board and get the students to shout out the answers as well and collaborate. So there's also a multitude of ways of using Seneca. So feel free to explore and play and just kind of make the most of it in a way that suits your classroom and your teaching.
Thank you. Okay. And then the final bit, we got any more questions on those assignments parts?
No questions on the assignments parts.
Okay. So the final bit that I was going to show you, if I go back to my teacher platform, is here. If you are a senior leader, you will also see this one for inviting parents. And if you click this one, there is more than one click. This will, however, invite all of the parents who are linked on your MIS. It goes to contact one as a default, provided there are no court orders, etc. in place. As a class teacher, you can, in your class, go to the Students tab. You can select those students and invite parents. So you can invite the parents of your class. That means that you can then see, if I change my settings, and I will show you what it looks like from a parent's point of view. So parents will then see how their student has been doing. They will see all the assignments, whether they're overdue. Sadly, this child has a lot of overdue assignments and ones that they haven't started. It'll show you what they've been doing recently, and then you can see what they've been doing over time and a link to all of their courses in Seneca, because I'm sure if it's being used across the whole school, they can see all of those in one go there. So it's quite helpful for parental engagement for them to be able to see what their children have been doing on the platform. Any other questions?
That looks, oh yeah, we got another one from Mark. If you smart reassign, do you still need to share the link to the assignment?
So if you smart reassign assignments, so if we go back into the one that we did smart reassign here, for students to know that it is there, if we smart reassign, here we go, we went into this one, this reassign geography. You can still share the links in the same way, but because your students are synced, when they next go into their class, they will automatically see that assignment and it'll say reassign geography come up, if that makes sense, and it'll get them to complete it. So if you don't necessarily share these links, you could just say to your students, log into your Seneca and it will automatically be there for them.
Super. And that is all of them so far, but what we'll do is we'll stay on the meeting. So if any more questions do come up, guys, you've still got plenty of time. Please do type them in the chat and we'll answer them. But for those of you that don't have any questions, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much indeed. Hope it's been helpful for you.
And if you do encounter any issues or anything that you want to have a chat to someone about, I'm just putting 2 emails in the chat now, which are mine and Ruth's. So if you ever need any help with literally anything, we'll be able to help or be able to direct you to the person who can. So I'm just amelia@seneca.io and Ruth is just ruth@seneca.io. So nice and easy.
When I'm on the classes page, the link to add students is grayed out. So I'm unable to add myself to a class as a student. Hang on one moment. Let me go in as a synced class.
Should be able to work. Fingers crossed.
Yeah, hang on a minute. I was just going to show that one that's just come up. I just got to log out of here and become a teacher. 1 second. So if I go into a class, no, you can't add yourself as a student because, of course, they're directly assigned from the MIS. But so if you were going to look at it, you could view it on the student platform and you could go into that class that way. 1 moment, it's thinking. And it would find it on there, if that makes sense, under the assignments.
Yeah, it should hopefully be visible there. The other alternative is just going onto the student platform and finding the particular section from the main courses page. So you can always kind of study as a student when you're on the teacher platform. So you can go and find any of the courses there. But also, if you pop us an email, we can have a look at seeing if we can work out a better way to go around that. So we can make it nice and easy for you as well.
Okay, thank you.
Perfect. Just popping our emails up on the screen as well. So in case anyone didn't catch them, you can note them down. Any help you need at all, don't hesitate to reach out. I think that might be all our questions. So should we say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye. Very nice to have joined you. I hope it's been helpful. Take care. Bye.
Thanks so much, everyone. Bye.